medical personnel, they are supposed to be there to help you, to make sure that you are healthy, that you are on the road to recovery, that they don't impact you negatively. So there's a situation that has happened in Houston. More than 150 employees at Houston Methodist Hospital have been fired or resigned. Why? Because the hospital told them they need to get a COVID-19 shot. You know what? If I'm going to that hospital, I think that's a great idea. Yes, I want you to be vaccinated from something that could kill me and something that is easy to do. It is now making no damn sense. So these employees said, no, this was a violation of their rights, and they claimed that the vaccines were simply experimental and dangerous, and it would be wrongful termination. Now, let's go back to the law. The law is very clear in Texas about wrongful termination. Your employer cannot mandate you to do something that's criminal, okay? Your employer cannot say, do this criminal thing or we will fire you. And obviously there is no criminality here, which means there's no illegal act in the state of Texas. And at the time of the trial, the judge, and big ups to this judge, by the way, also had some words for one of these nurses who made an analogy that her threat of termination was like forced medical experimentation during the Holocaust. That was the comparison. The judge said, no, no, no. All right, USA Today conducted an interview with some of the nurses involved and other hospital staff. Here are some excerpts from that.
After the last email from Mr. Boone stating how the unvaccinated people who are not getting this COVID shot is not protecting their patients, I sent a letter to my supervisor and resigned that day. I had one more day before I was going to be suspended to work there. I could not work another day. Could not.
From the get-go, I said, if it comes down to my job or this vaccine, I will lose my job. I just don't want to inject this thing into my body that I don't even know what it's going to do.
I do not consider myself an anti-vaxxer at all. I believe in the vaccines. In say 4 to 5 years down the road, that it has been proven that you really should be getting these vaccines to help you. I'll be glad to take it.
I'm refusing the vaccine because I'm genuinely, worried about the reactions or even long-term effects.
Last year we were looked at as quote unquote superheroes, and now this year we're being kicked to the curb for absolutely no reason except valuing our own morals, and rights basically.
Yeah, now see, I got a problem with that, all right? Because that's a damn lie. The reason why you're being kicked to the curb, and by the way, they're not victims, but the reason why people are adversarial to this approach is because of the profession that they are in. I get it, your healthcare is your responsibility and it is your decision. I support that 100%. But when your healthcare decision can impact my mama, when your healthcare decision can cause those that I love to be adversely impacted because of your belief that this vaccine does not work, then now we have a problem. We have an issue that we need to deal with. And let me also say this, because I want to make sure I say it for the record. How in the hell can you be a nurse who has to administer the shot, has to promote that this is a shot that you need to get, has to be involved in the healthcare process of this COVID vaccination reality that we live in today, and be an anti-vaxxer? I don't understand that. You obviously don't need to be in that job anyway. I think we are freeing you from a life of torment, because if you feel that strongly about this substance, I'm sure you don't want to put this substance in the body of somebody else. Brett, am I wrong here?
This is the image that it summons to my mind, is that there's a nurse and she administers the shot to you and says, here you go, you're all vaccinated now. I'm gonna go administer my medical regimen. And then she just starts putting leeches on herself and like balancing her humors as if from the Middle Ages. I understand, it's a different level of emergency use authorization versus FDA approval. That's a fact. And the other facts are the ones that we learn about the effectiveness of the vaccinations And when it comes to side effects, this emergency use authorization was granted, and it was a giant. COVID has been a giant problem, and it's killed hundreds of thousands of people. That said, like, I listened to everything they had to say, and they made their point. And at the end of the day, the hospital has its rules, and I'm just tempted to hear what they say and then go, okay. Got it. You're not going to get the vaccine. You're not going to follow the rules of the place. And you said if it's the vaccine or your job, it's your job. Thank you for your time. Move on.
Yeah. Bottom line, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission back in December said companies can legally mandate that all employees re-entering the workplace, a new hires be vaccinated for COVID-19. The only exceptions allowed are for disabilities and religious reasons. That's it. That's the exception.
This is why Supreme Court decisions are how they are. This is the exact kind of thing that gets to the Supreme Court, where like I look at it and it's like for religious reasons you can be exempted from it. I don't understand that aspect of it. I hate the temptation to then have people are all going to say, well, if I can get out for religious reasons, why can't I just say my religion as a nurse, the church of being a nurse who doesn't want to get this vaccine exempts me from getting this vaccine? Like that, it just all the different reasons that you can get exemptions are thoroughly fascinating. And I think when it comes down to it, we have to defer to the court of common sense, which is if it's a hospital that you're working at, and we as science have decided that these vaccines are safe to use, it's proven safe to use. Fact-checking organizations say that as they've kind of given this excuse that they've had the disease, some of them have had COVID, and they're like, I'm now as immune as I would be. That's not necessarily true. In some cases, a vaccine provides more immunity than actually having had the disease yourself. So a lot of this afterwards, it's just thoroughly fascinating. They're making these decisions and following these policies. And I just have to say, like, yeah, you decided not to get the vaccine. I understand, but you can't keep working here the same way that a pilot can't opt out of recertification to fly a plane because they think that they're safe flying the plane with the information that they've learned so far. They don't need to learn the latest technology on the latest planes. They can just exempt themselves. If someone said that as a pilot, I would call that insane. And when they say it as a nurse, I just have to give the same argument back.
Yeah, very well said. And let's be clear about why this is happening. This is happening because we allow politics to shape the conversation of COVID-19 instead of allowing COVID-19 to shape the politics. And typically, if you want to get to good policy, you start with the conversation honestly. And that honest dialogue, that transparent dialogue will get you to a good policy place typically. But when you allow politics to shape the narrative first, and then you produce this politicized understanding of COVID, you have what you have. I'm gonna make a prediction, and I know you'll say, hey man, you don't know that for sure. I'll put money on it. All of them voted for Donald Trump. I'll put some money on that, okay? I'll put money on that.
Listen, I have some friends who are doctors, and when this vaccination, the like news that the vaccine was getting fast tracked was first brought to the news, they said, I genuinely, these are the same people who said like, I think marijuana is safe, except I'm not sure in clinically it's been proven whether it's safe for kids who are developing their brains and it's linked to psychosis if you have a genetic link to psychosis in your family at that age. When I hear that kind of analysis of it, I am more inclined to believe it, right? And in this case, I don't hear that level of analysis of it. I'm understanding that these are nurses, and those same doctors who told me that they were skeptical of the speed with which this vaccine was being developed, and this was probably like 3 months into the pandemic, those doctors later got the vaccine. Like they did their research, they did their homework, and they listened to it, and they went with the best course of action given where we are with the science. And that's something that you have to do. And I understand personal choice, but I also understand like the general like mission statement of a hospital. And I respect this hospital for having this policy.